Wednesday afternoon, and the cover has been replaced. This one fits nice and securely, well fastened on there, and you can see by looking at the pond here, it is providing far more shade than the fabric one that was up there previously. The sun has sort of shifted position in the sky here, so we're still getting a bit of sunlight coming in at this end, but definitely an improvement in the amount of shade being provided to the koi, and they are definitely much happier, I'm sure, to be able to get out of the sun. And you can see, as I had pointed out in a previous video, the water returns from the upflows working very, very well with the new pump. Got a good flow going on here. Fish are happy, which means I'm happy. And so the cover looking really good. Took a few minutes to get on and secure it in place there, but you know, very light material, so it wasn't difficult to do. And that's pretty much it for this for now. I will get back with another update soon with regard to how the new pump is continuing to function, hopefully well, and how the outflows are doing. I've got the old filter, or sort of the old cover rather, on top of the filter pit. I'm going to get that folded up now and put away, and this will take it easy for the balance of the afternoon. It's still very comfortable out here. Still a nice, beautifully blue sky. Sun is out, it's getting a bit warmer, but definitely a gorgeous afternoon. So I will be back with you in the next one. It is a gorgeous Sunday morning, a little after 7:30. Temperature right now is 17 degrees, although we are expecting a high of about 28 with the humidity factored in into the mid-30s. So it's going to be definitely a warm day. As you can see, I have the new covering on the framework here over the pond to help keep it shaded. Replaced that the other day, and it's doing a wonderful job. It definitely helps to keep the bulk of the pond in shade for most of the day, depending on the location of the sun, and the fish are doing very, very well. It makes a big difference on the water temperature for them as well. When I checked the water temperature yesterday afternoon, despite the fact we had hit over 30 degrees, the pond was still in around the 24-degree range, so doing very, very well. The fish have already eaten, and they will get something a little bit later on. And as you can see, the returns from the upflow filters are working well and seem to have made a big difference here as getting water movement, etc., into the pond. What I am doing this morning, however, though, is I'm going to modify the airline on the upflow filter, because those of you who saw my earlier videos, when I installed the filters, you can see the airlines there. It just comes in a one line and is connected to both towers. What has happened for some reason, and I'm not sure why, the one here on the left, when I clean it, it works really, really well. A lot of agitation. This one, you can see a bit of difference, hopefully, in the color of the water inside the filter. This one is not agitating properly at all. So I don't know if it's just a bit of a buildup of sediment or something in there causing that as an issue, or whether there's a bit of blockage from the media to the airline coming in. So what I'm going to do today is modify the fittings down here, and I'm going to put a valve in on this side and on this side, which will enable me to isolate one or the other chambers as need be if I do run into a bit of an issue. I'm hoping that'll solve the problem rather than having to take these all apart and get right in there, because I really don't want to do that with them functioning pretty much the way they were intended. As I said, it's just a cleaning aspect right now. So I'm going to climb into the filter pit. I will turn the pump off, get the water shut off, and turn the air on so you can see the difference between the two agitations in there, and then I'll get working on the changes to the configuration down here. And I want to get this all done before it gets too hot to be out here, as it will be a bit later in the day. So I'm going to climb down into the pit and get the bubbling going, and I will be back with you momentarily. So I have turned off the water pump to the upflows, and as you can see very clearly here, hopefully there's not too much glare on the pipes themselves. The one on this side is agitating absolutely beautifully. The one on this side, you can see some bubbles coming through it. There's definitely a little bit of movement in there, but that's not cleaning anything. So what I'm going to do, as I said, is modify by putting the valves in down the bottom so that I can direct all the flow from this one on the left here into this one on the right, just to get things going, and then I can just adjust as need be if there's any blockages or anything like that. So again, you can see there's definitely a little bit of movement kind of going on in here, but certainly it's not getting the airflow that it should. So I'm going to work on that now. And the nice part about having installed the second pump recently is that I can turn that one off, as I have done to sort of do this cleaning cycle here, and the EasyPod filters continue to run. So at no point is the pond left without filtration. And the job I'm going to do on here won't take too long, at least that's kind of my expectation. And that being said, the filters will still continue for the EasyPods. The pond is going to be doing very well. There's still lots of variation in there. And I can work on these once the repairs or the modifications are done. I'll get these functioning again, do another thorough cleaning, because this one definitely needs it. It's been a couple of days, and again you can see a little bit of movement down there, but not enough to get the agitation necessary. So I'm going to get working on that now, and I will get back to you once the changes are in place and let you see the difference, hopefully, that things have made. I'll be back with you soon. I have made the changes to the air supply for the two upflow filters, as you can see here. It did take a bit of time just trying to figure out what was going to work the best to fit everything together, and hopefully it's all sealed and will do the job. The one-way or the check valve here, I had to drop down a few inches, add the extra fittings there, and now have the two valves. You can see one here, one on the other side. The idea now is that I have independent control of the air for both cylinders should the need arise. This valve I've closed off. This one is wide open at the moment. So I'm going to get down into the pit, turn the pump back on to fill these with water, then turn the air on to see if it will agitate the cylinder on the right, as I'm hoping. And once things get started, I will definitely bring the camera up and let you see what is going on. So I'll be back in a few moments. As you can see, the fix seems to have worked for now. Again, the cylinder on the left-hand side, this one here, I have the air turned off at the moment. The one on the right-hand side over here, which was causing the issues, or I was having the issues with, I should say, is now agitating beautifully. You can see that the water in there is definitely dirty. I'm going to let that boil for a few minutes, and then we'll come out and drain both of them. Then what I'm going to do after that is refill, open both of the valves, the ones I just installed down here. Normally both valves will be open all the time, and they will sort of bubble independently, but at the same time, if that makes sense. And to make sure that things clean up when they're supposed to. If I do run into issues like I had prior to making my changes here, then I can separate them out and operate, as I said, just one cylinder at a time if need be. So I'm going to let this go for now. And it certainly made a massive, massive difference as to the air supply going in there. So I'm going to let that bubble, and I will come out and do the flush. Once this one is done and drained, I will open both valves, as I mentioned a moment ago, have both of them running, and I will show you that just before ending this segment of the video. Alright, it's been about 15-20 minutes since I made the changes that I had showed you a few moments ago in the video, and as you can see, both cylinders are doing very well now. I did do a flush after that 15-20 minutes to sort of empty the cylinder on the right, and have now opened both valves up fully, the ones down here that I just installed a little while ago. And now you can see that both of the cylinders are moving very well. The one on the left slightly higher as far as the agitation is concerned. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit from the air supply, which is down here. I'll just turn that in a little, thereby forcing a bit more air into the second one. And actually, I can still turn that down, I think, even a little bit more. There we go, that's getting sort of better aeration. And it could be the reason the one on the left is getting a bit more is the way the fittings come up from the air pump itself. That's kind of going directly in, where the one on the right has to go through a little bit of bends in the pipework here to get it functioning. So that may be adding a little bit of pressure to it, or a little bit of restriction. So I'm going to let both of these bubble for about 10 minutes now, and then I'll shut the air off, drain them down, and get the pump back operational for the koi. So I am very pleased with my handiwork. As I said, it did take a while to kind of figure out the pipe fittings, etc., as to how I was going to get everything in there and make it functional and still keep things out of the way. And definitely working very well. I'm really happy with that. So I will update things further as any other changes are made. Thanks again for watching, and I will be back with you soon. And just while I am waiting for the upflow filters to have their second boil and have that completed, just want to take a quick look here at the pond. You can see that I'm topping the water up a bit here. Of course, those of you that have any of the filters, whether it's the Multi-Bay, the Easy Pods, the Nexus, or pretty much any other filter where you have to drain water as part of the cleaning process, you have to replace that water in the pond. Such is the case here, and the water level normally would be, if I can set it with my finger here, just touching the bottom of the returns on that side there. You can kind of see the damp mark on the first row of the blocks. And what I am contemplating, although I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to make that work yet, is putting in a float valve somewhere in here that will allow me to have the water connected to it, so when I drop the water because of a filter change, the pond will automatically start to refill. Now, the way my filter system is set up and the way the pump is set up, I don't have, at least not that I can see, an effective way to get things going from that kind of standpoint here in the filter system itself. And again, the Easy Pods are on this side, my moving bed there, and the pump chamber, as I call it, on this side here. Now you can see the water level in the pump chamber there. That is kind of the normal operating level. Actually, it drops down a little bit when the upflow filter pump is turned on as well. When I turn the pumps off completely, the water comes almost up to the top of the barrel. Now, if I was to put the float switch in that barrel as the water dumps down because of the pumps, it would be continually adding water to the pond, and I could put an overflow in there to drain some of the water off, but I don't want a continual sort of thing coming in where it's really not easy for me to control the inlet or the outlet, just based on the level of the water in the pump chamber. And that's why I don't sort of have a trickle in, trickle out. I had something similar, trickle in, trickle out set up on my earlier configuration that was in place a couple of years ago, but has since been totally revamped to allow for the setup that you see here now. So I'm working on some ideas as to how I can maybe make this work. Again, space is obviously a bit of an issue with getting, you know, the different pieces fit in here, as is the removal of the waste water that would be, and the way the pump and the ponds are set up, or the pond and the pumps are set up here. If I was to put the float in there, that would certainly allow the water to come in to refill as I'm doing now with the hose, which would be, you know, perfectly fine. It would allow a little bit to come in through evaporation, but there's no way to drain the water, excess water, out of the pond or the filter system sort of safely if the pumps should turn off for any particular reason, power failure, or just, you know, other issues with plumbing or anything like that. And so that's why I'm sort of contemplating just doing something in the pond itself here, probably in a corner there where the water's coming in and where you can see my Sankey and my Surigoi kind of cruising around. Likely in that corner, making it relatively close to the house as far as putting a fitting in, and I can sort of bring it through the wall and drop it in there, so it won't really be visible from the front of the pond when you're looking at it, unless you kind of come right up to the side. But I'm not too worried about that. The other issue we have here, of course, is the winter and freezing. So I want to have a fitting such that if it is in the pond, it is easily removable to prevent damage over the winter months. So that's something I'm kind of contemplating now. If anybody has any suggestions as to, you know, where might be a suitable place to put the water top-up mechanism, you know, please let me know. Always welcome, of course, to get your feedback. As you can see, the fish are doing really well. I'm absolutely thrilled to have them out here. The water itself still a little bit tinged, shall we say. It's certainly not to the clarity I would like to have, although it's, you know, about 99%. And after having the ponds completely idle last year because of my illness, and then the issues I had early on in the season with the leaks, the past, you know, month and a half or a couple of months kind of thing has been absolutely phenomenal from a pond perspective for me, just based again on kind of thing what I went through in the past year or two. So very happy with how things have turned out. As I said, like a lot of koi keepers in the UK that I've seen videos of, as well as some others, you know, in North America here, maintaining the filters and tweaking the filters and modifying the filters seems to be a yearly thing, and no doubt I will be doing that as well. As I said, I'm going to just get the upflows, which are now just doing a beautiful job of boiling here, super clean. Massive difference in that one on the right as far as even the clarity of the water in there now compared to prior to me making a change on the fittings. So I think I am good to go for that. So what I'm going to do now is turn the air off, drain those, get everything back up and running before it gets too hot. We're up into the low 20s now. It is quite warm out here in the sun, so before it gets too hot, I'm going to take my beautiful girl here, Cinnabon, for a walk. We were out about 6:30 this morning. Went for a nice walk. I'm going to go for another one now, and we'll be able to come out and spend a bit more time. And I think today what I'm going to do as well is treat everybody here, the guys and the girls, with some of the silkworm pupa that I have. That will be their Sunday treat, and I will do a quick little video of that going in, just to kind of watch the fish and see how things are going. And you can see, I know there's a bit of a glare on the water here, but as I had mentioned previously in the video here, this covering has made a massive difference as far as shade on the pond. Very easy to put it, well, it's a little awkward to put it on by myself. Got it on though. I think the fish are enjoying it because it keeps the water cooler. It gives them some protection from the sun. It also helps protect from, potentially any predators that are flying overhead. And I know we do have heron in the area. Occasionally raccoons will sort of come around also, but the electric fence takes care of that. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. As I said, I will add a little bit to the video in a little while once I come out and bring them their Sunday treat. And we'll give you an update in another video on how the upflows and everything are continuing to function over the next few days. So thank you again for hanging in there and watching, and I said we'll be back with another little segment of the video with these fish getting their treat for today. So enjoy, and I will have an edition very, very soon. It is treat time on Sunday afternoon. The fish are enjoying themselves. They're going to get some of the silkworm pupae that I have here. As you can see and hear, they are definitely loving this. And they love being out here. They certainly love the silkworm. Say this is going to be about a once a week treat for them, but they are absolutely enjoying these. They relish them every time they can have them, and it is a very nice, albeit warm afternoon out here right now. Temperature 27 with the humidity feeling around 30, but there is a bit of a breeze, so it actually is more comfortable than it was yesterday. The next couple of days are predicted to get quite warm, so that will be maybe a challenge depending on what the temperature gets to. So I'm glad that I got out here and got the changes made to the upflow filter aeration this morning. A bit too warm to be working out here in the sun. Just a quick recap from the earlier component of the video. Those are the changes that I made to put the valves on there for the aeration. Both the filters are doing very, very well. You can see they both look equally as clean, which is great. They'll get another cleaning tomorrow, as will the Easy Pods. Actually, Easy Pods will get it later today because I didn't do them this morning. Power shower is working very, very well. So things are definitely coming along. Backyard needs a little bit of a trim, but other than that, I'm happy to say that things have progressed very nicely. Again, my girl just came out with me while I'm feeding the fish, and she doesn't like to be too far away from me, which is absolutely wonderful. Just another quick shot of the koi here, looking to clean up the remaining silkworm pupae that are floating around. You can see the water is doing well. It's cleared up very nicely. Again, as I mentioned, about 99%. The airflow coming up from the bottom drain is working really, really well. And the koi have lots of oxygen in here, keeping the water well aerated for them with that bottom dome. And I am just going to pull the thermometer out now and see what the water temperature is. So if you just bear with me for a second while I grab that here. Sorry about your finger. And there we have it. I don't know if you can see that clearly or not, but it is about 24 degrees. So not too bad at all. Having the cover over the pond here, I think, makes a huge difference for the koi, and definitely keeps the sun off much better than the one that was on there just a few days ago. It looks like they've cleaned up all but one or two of the silkworms, so they are very, very happy. And if they're happy and doing well, so am I. So thank you again for watching. some of my trials and tribulations in getting the filters functioning the way that they should be. I do appreciate again any feedback that you may have for me. Please feel free to leave a like and a comment below, and if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button, as your comments are very, very much appreciated. I will be back before too much longer with an updated video. Thank you all, take care, and from what I hear of the forecast in the UK, you're in for a couple of extremely hot days over there. Hope everybody stays safe and your fish are all well.